Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at a print and play game that I was given the opportunity to demonstrate. And it is called Ahoy Shipwrecked. And they gave me some files for the game to be able to be played solo. And also, I believe just one of the characters that might be in the full campaign. So I'm going to demonstrate that to you. I'm going to give you an overview, play a few turns, and then let you know what I think. All right, let's get started. Okay, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you have, I really do appreciate that support. So, here's what we've got going on. You are shipwrecked after a battle, and you've landed on an island, and you've got this barrel of rum here. And you've decided that you need to get off the island before you run out of rum. Otherwise, well, you lose the game. And so, in order to do that, you've got to build a raft, and the raft needs to have these parts, these essential parts. It's got to have an actual rudder, it has to have the raft itself, and it has to have a sail. So those three things plus one of these other things, whether it's an upgrade here, like a way to steer up with this or a rope, or whether it's some kind of benefit on the sail itself, or a supply of food or water or whatever, you have to have one of those as well. Now, the more you have, the more points you will not lose and maybe even gain. Okay? And so you have a timer in this game, which is the amount of rum you have. And you can turn that rum into grog, kind of extending your timer, but wiping out some bonus points to try to get whatever you need to do, the essentials done before it's time to escape. And basically what you have is at any time in the game, you can decide to sail off. And in order to do that, you have to have at least one rum or grog left. And then you can escape as long as you have all of those essentials and one of the optionals built. Now, what's going on here? Well, this game works by rolling 3 dice and assigning them to different actions, okay? And the actions, the 1 through 5s are specific actions, and the 6 is a wild. It can be used anywhere. Your dice will get reduced if you are fatigued. And so one of the situations you have to deal with in this game is handling fatigue. And that can either be done by spending a 1 to rest, or it can be done by sleeping in a shelter if you build a shelter, or by building a fire and keeping it lit. But that consumes wood. So the other thing that you're going to be doing in this game is finding these different tools, okay? And the tools are necessary. You have to find them by spending the 3 action. They're necessary to build the pieces of the ship that you need, or the raft that you need, but they also enhance different things. They help you get better returns when you're looking for or working in camp. So when I'm working in camp, if I cut wood, but I have a saw, I'll get 2 planks out of it versus just 1. If I have a knife, I'll get more rope out of these vine, I can't remember the specific term there, but out of these things that you make rope with, basically, I get a better return there. Or if I'm making a sail, if I have this tool right here, I'll get more return on the sail versus just doing it without it. All right, and you're going to be spending those things to beef up your basically to craft your craft, right? But you can also spend them to improve your camp. So you can make a rain gutter, for instance, which will automatically fill up and help you gather water throughout the game instead of you having to go and get it. You can, like I said, build a fire that'll help you with your resting. You can build a shelter, which will help you with the resting. You can build a spear, which will improve your hunting ability. A sled that'll help you gather more wood, and even a shovel here, which will help you to dig for treasure, which basically score you points. Now, over here, this is basically like your storage for your stuff. You'll store your wood, you'll store your vines here and your leaves here, and then if you dig for treasure over here, you'll basically check these things off to score points at the end. And so that's kind of what you see here. Now let's talk about the specific actions and how your turn works. On your turn, you're going to roll 3 dice, okay? And in the case of what you roll, you can, after you deal with any fatigue, in the first turn you don't have any fatigue, you can do a couple things. First of all, you can keep them as is. So I could spend these 2s to take this action here, which is going to be writing in the diary or improving, upgrading one of my upgradable things. And every time you upgrade something, it may extend the life. Like for instance, it would extend the life of this shelter here so you can sleep in it 3 more times. Or let you use the sled 1 more time. But a lot of times the upgrade is just going to add additional points, 1 additional point to everything. And you want to do that because you're trying to get some positive points. Just escaping the island isn't really going to get you any positive points unless you built every single thing you could possibly build. Then you'll get 5 points. So upgrading is one of the ways to do that. So you can combine the dice. Okay, so I can make these 2 into a 4, or even I can make them into a 6 and put them all in one place. But what you're hoping to do is, of course, maximize your actions in this game. So the more dice you combine, yeah, you might get the action you want, but of course you won't get to take 3 actions per turn. After you've taken your actions, then you have to look. If you've rested, or if you have built a shelter, or if you have a fire, you don't put a slash into this fatigue area. But if you haven't, you have to put a slash in the fatigue area. And the next turn, you are going to have to reduce each dice or each die by the number of slashes that are not dealt with. And then you also will drink one of your rum or grog and put a slash or erase an X, which I'll talk about in a second, here, kind of effectively ticking down the timer. Now, what are the couple actions here? We've just talked about rest. We've just talked about upgrade. So upgrade will allow you to either upgrade something or write in your diary. Here, this is where you will go looking on the beach, okay? And this is where you will spend, if, like, for instance, if I put a 3 there, I could find any one of these tools. And once I find the tool, I would mark that I have it. And then I could also mark any other place the tool is required just to remind you. And that's what this is. You could also just find 1 piece of rope, 1 nail, and it's the only place you can find nails with this situation, the configuration. 1 piece of sail, 1 timber, 1 food, or if you happen to have built the net, you get 2 food, i.e. you're going fishing. Or you can, if you built a shovel, you can get 1 treasure. And that's all the things you can do by spending a 3, all right? If I spend a 4, I'm going to be working in the camp. And to work in the camp, you can do one of 2 things. You can basically contribute to any of these projects over here, building them, okay? Or you can contribute to building a portion of your raft. And it is up to you how you want to spend your 3 raw materials that you've previously gathered here to turn them into their finished materials to contribute them to any kind of project that needs them. So, for example, if I want to build this shelter, I put a 4 here, and I have some leaves, I can spend the leaves to contribute to, this in this case, it would just be spending a leaf period to cross this off and build it. Same thing with the wood, okay? 1 die equals 1 of these things. So that's what you could do there. But if you are contributing to building some of the rafts, then you could say, okay, well, I could take this, I can have the leaf, I can maybe provide a mark for the sail, or if I have this other, sewing tool here, I can get 2 for 1 leaf. And I'm just going to exhaust that over here and contribute it over there. And so that's what you're doing in this area. And then finally, 5 is where you're going on an expedition in the jungle. And that's where you can get more of your resources, okay? So you could get 1 wood, or if you have an axe, you get 2 wood, or if you want to use your sled, you could get 5 wood for spending a die there. If you want to hunt, you'll get 1 food by just going, or if you've already built a spear, you'll get 2. And you don't have to eat food in this game. The hunting and the food for this particular configuration is specific to basically filling up this area right here. Every time you bring in food, you're going to start ticking off things over there. All right, you're making a food storage. If you want to contribute to getting these resources, you get 1 by itself, or if you have a knife, you get 2. If you get a leaf, it'd be 1 or 3. And if you want to go hunt for treasure, you have to have the knife and the shovel, but you could get 2 basically 2 ticks over here, which each tick is worth a point. Finally, you can also just get 2 water. Now, what's the water do? Well, one of 2 things. You can use the water to fill up your, let's just say, barrel of water for your voyage, and that's one of the ways that you can do your upgrade, okay? Or you can use the water to basically split or double the amount of grog you will have. In this case, you'll be making rum into grog. And what you do is you're basically going to look, how much rum do I have left? I'm going to dump in an equal part of water, and it's going to double that capacity. But in that case, you will not get any bonus points at the end for having leftover rum, okay? The other thing you could do with rum that I didn't talk about is you could turn any dice, any specific die into a 6, making it wild if you consume a rum. You can't do that if you consume grog. So once you've made grog, it's kind of like you can't get the water out once you've already dumped it in and diluted it, right? Okay, so that's a good enough basis to show you kind of what's going on. Let's play a couple of turns here, all right? Just as we'd started out. So we're gonna go ahead and roll. We got a 1, 2, and a 3. So I'm gonna rest so I don't have to start degrading, and I'll show you, well, resting would wipe out things here, but if I rest in the beginning, I don't actually take any of that fatigue, so that's fine. Now I could, and I will, search for some tools, because the sooner I have tools, the better everything is going to get. And then I got this 2 left over, so I'm going to end up probably just diarying to do that. So, and you could do these in any order. I'm just kind of putting them out here to plan what I want to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to find a tool, okay? And the tool that probably makes the most sense for me at the beginning, just because I need to get wood, is probably the axe. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to circle that I have the axe now. And I'm also going to circle the axe in every other spot so that it reminds me I've got this capability. So I've got the capability here, here. Let's see, where else is the axe? Here. And this is just to help you remember you fulfilled that condition, okay? So I could do all these things with the axe. All right, so that's that. And then I'm going to journal. So it's simple. I'm just going to put a slash over there saying that I've done that. And then I'm going to rest. Okay, that is my turn. Now, it comes to the end of the phase or the end of the day, okay? And in this case, what you're going to do is, if I had not rested, I'd have to put a slash in there, which would degrade my dice in future rolls, okay? But I did rest, so I don't do that. If I had water, I could, if I wanted to, transfer it to this area right here for free, or I could just keep storing it. And no matter what, I got to drink a grog, so I'm going to put a slash mark right there, showing I've consumed 1. All right, so that's the first turn. 1, 1, and 2. Well, I don't need to keep resting so much. I'm sorry, 1, 1, and 4. What I'm probably going to do in this case is I'm going to do the rest, but I'm going to make a 5 out of these. And that way I can go get 2 lumber with the axe that I found last time. So I'll go get 2, not lumber, but wood, or whatever you want to say. I'll cross off those 2, and I'll still have the rest. So it sounds like, oh yeah, that's great, it's going well. Well, the only thing is I didn't get too much done in that turn, right? So I'm sort of, biding my time here, but I only have a certain amount of turns, and I haven't done anything yet building anything. So you've got to kind of monitor that and figure out, okay, well, how much am I going to do these things versus not? Now, this is a nicer roll. So I have some 5s. I can go get some more wood. What I really would like to do, if I can, is build this sled so that I don't have to go into the jungle with just 2. So how do I build a sled? Well, you've got to work in the camp, right? And I don't have a 4, but I do have a 6. So I could contribute that, and I could spend one of the wood that I just got, like that. And now I have the capability here, right? So I fulfilled this condition. So now, when I go over here to gather wood, I should be able to, well, I can tick one of these off, and I can gather 5 of them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll do that again. But I'm already kind of exhausted. I just exhausted my sled. So the only way I would be able to use it again, check that off. The only way I should be able to use that again is if I upgrade it. It will give me one more move out of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. But, and I know I'm probably bothering people. Sorry for starting from the top, because obviously you build from the bottom, just me being OCD. All right, so I didn't rest on that turn. So that means I have to now put a fatigue over here, and I still have to gain or drink the barrel of rum. Take a pull out of it. So now when I roll these, because I have some fatigue, the immediate first thing I have to do is reduce each of these die by 1, which isn't necessarily the best of things, right? So now I've got a 2, a 4, and a 4. So even if I wanted to rest, I really can't pull it off. You can subtract dice. So for instance, instead of adding them like I did before, I can subtract from them. That would be fine too. So, but I'm not going to, but that is possible. What I will do is try and I'll probably turn these into a 6. So that 6 can be used as a 3. So I can find another tool, which is going to be the saw. And the saw is helpful. I need it here. I also need it here for making stuff. All right. And that is the only place for the saw. And then I have a 4. I'm going to turn one of these wood, because I have the saw, into 2 planks. I'm going to contribute those planks to this spot right there. See how that works? So now I'm starting to build what I need to do to actually get off the island. But I'm tired again. So and that's another fatigue. That's another rum. And now when I roll, I'm going to have to lose 2. So this becomes a 1. And this becomes a 1. And that becomes a 1. So that really, you're kind of wiped out. So you got to be careful to manage this. Now in this case, once you've rested, you will take care of, you'll X those off, meaning you've exhausted them, and now you're back to normal, all right? So you won't take a fatigue this round. Now, what am I going to do with this 2? Well, the only way to upgrade something is actually to use a 2 and something else, anything else. That would be an upgrade. So this can't work for that. There's no point in over resting. So I guess what I'm just going to do is do the journal action again. And you could, depending on however many dice, you could do a bunch of journal actions. You could do the 2 and then other ones and just keep on crossing them off. But that doesn't apply here. All right, still have to drink a grog. So you can kind of see the way the game's working. And you keep on playing, keep on doing different things. So there, that's better. 5, 6, and a 4. Building up your different items here in order to make it easier for you to collect resources, put this stuff together over here, ultimately escape and try to score some points along the way. And the best way to do that is either upgrading, finding treasures, upgrading any of these, or finishing extra of these. All right. So let me tell you what I think about it. So Ahoy Shipwrecked, from a solo standpoint, is definitely a fun game. There's enough pressure from the time limits of that grog just kind of ticking by. And even when you try to dilute it, that really doesn't buy you a ton of extra time. But you feel the pressure in a game like this, which is good. I like to be pressured in roll and write games. Otherwise, they just feel flabby and it's just kind of, there's no tension, right? So every time you're playing this game, you kind of feel like, okay, I need to balance the things I'm doing with the ability to make some real progress here. And so that's where the tools come in place. That's where trying to maximize what you're doing comes into play. But sometimes, you're just going to have to deal with a roll that doesn't go your way, right? And I do like the way that they let you modify things by kind of penalizing your actions, the different, how many actions you can take. So instead of seeing some of the other roll and writes where you usually add a die, subtract +1, -1, by getting modifiers, here it's more of a, it's a risk versus reward, right? I'm going to lose a turn, so to speak, or lose an action, but I'm going to get the action I want, which I appreciate. I like that. I also like the fact that in order to get something done here, you have to focus on a lot of different things. You can't forget certain things. Some things just are going to take time. So for instance, nails, at least with the configuration that they sent to me, the only way you get nails is to go to the beach and find them. And many of your required things are going to make you get nails. So if you are not paying attention to that early enough, you could run out of time and just, hey, I'm not rolling, I'm not gathering fast enough to get these nails. I shouldn't say I'm not, because you have plenty of time to do it as long as you pay attention. But it's a trade-off, right? Do I get a nail or do I do other things when I roll that 3? So I like that. I also think it's fun that they put in a bunch of little things to upgrade and kind of spend your time on, enough that none of them are, it's not like you're going to do all of them. You're going to do a couple. You got to pick a few because you just don't have time to do them all, which I appreciate. And that's one thing I think with a roll and write that's essential, is that you can't just fill everything up, because if you fill everything up, the game feels like there was no point in actually playing it, because no matter what I did, I kind of got everything done. So the other thing I'll mention here is that in my plays, it is not an easy game to score well. You have to have some skill in how you combine and a little bit of luck. It's a roll and write to be able to do everything you want to do. So you got to be paying attention to that. You got to be maximizing your time. Yeah, if you're always resting, it's easy to feel like you're doing well, but you're going to run out of time because you spent a third of your day reclined on the beach just taking it easy. And so I think it all works out really well. From a print and play standpoint, there is really not too much you have to print. And I'm not usually a person who will get into print and plays, because sometimes it requires an awful lot of work, like many sheets to print out and many things to do. Here, I printed these 4 sheets and I laminated them, and that's it, right? I have all I need, and it didn't take me very long to set up. So I think there's a value there for those who aren't game builders themselves, who like to print all these things out. I think roll and writes really do well in the print and play arena, just because it should be fairly easy to do that. You don't have to print out a bunch of counters and cards and this thing than usual. I mean, this is the right kind of thing. So overall, I was very impressed with it, and it's my honest opinion. I know I was provided this to review, but when I comment on it, these are honest things, right? Everything that I do, I want to be authentic, and I think here, from a person who likes a roll and write game and likes the theme and likes pressure, and is okay with not scoring huge amounts of points, right? Like, a good score could be 5-10 points. At least it's positive. If it's positive, you're in good shape. You could still not lose the game, but end up with -12, right? If you just basically got out. So as long as you like that type of game, this is a game for you. If you want a game that you're going to be scoring a bunch of points, or has a little bit more ease and doesn't put in the kind of the angst, there's a little bit of angst here, this might be not for you. But I think it's definitely one that I'll be playing again several times. I enjoy it. I'll look deeper into the campaign as they get things going and finish up what they're doing. So they're going to probably use this for that campaign, this video. And I'm not sure all of the stuff that they're doing, because there is a multiplayer. There is the solo mode, which is what I'm looking at here. But it's worth checking out if you're a solo player, at least. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Whatever you do in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.